everybody, it's Chris Eads, known online as Wootini, here with another one of my Gay Gamer video podcasts. Quick movie review to start. I went to see Onward, which is the new Pixar movie. It was good. It's basically, if a fantasy world became reality, so it's all these elves and gnomes and creatures living in a modern world. I feel like they could have done a little more with those jokes. I feel like there's more, there's a lot of potential in that premise, and I don't feel like they really mined it as much as they could have. But the story is nice. It's another one of those, kids and their parents, and it's got a nice emotional hook. I didn't cry, but there are a couple moments towards the end where I was like, "Aw, that's sweet." Aw. But I didn't actually tear up or anything. But it was funny. It was a good adventure, if a bit obvious in places. And of course, I went to see it in 3D, and there were a few good moments in 3D. Like there's one bit where he's holding the staff out, and I felt like I could reach out and grab it, which is rare. They don't usually do that in 3D movies anymore. They don't really push it and do that. But for the most part, I don't feel like it was directed with 3D in mind, except for like a handful of moments. But it is fun to see it in 3D, and I appreciated the family next to me. Like, the mother and father came with their son, and they all came to see the 3D show, which I think is great. Props to them for giving into their son's desire to see it in 3D, or whoever wanted to see it in 3D. Maybe mom loves 3D, I don't know. But they literally sat down right next to me, and I'm like, this whole theater is like half empty. I know it's reserved seating, but scooch over one, and the dad was sitting right next to me, and he talked all through the trailers, and then he started talking all through the movie. So 10 minutes into the movie, I scooched over one seat, and I did it while he was talking so he would get the idea. And it was just one seat, but that was enough so that it's not right next to me, because that's super annoying. And then some guy in the back, I kept hearing his phone went off a couple of times, and then one time I actually heard him having a conversation, and I'm like, dude, we're trying to watch a movie here. People. Even when they're expensive tickets, people still don't behave right. You'd think that would help weed out some of the people who would behave badly. It does not. Onto gaming. I actually got my code to download Animal Crossing, which was very exciting. I got it at the beginning of last week. Tuesday morning, I got up for work and there was the code, and I was like, yay! But it's funny, there was 2 emails from Best Buy. One was like, hey, we have an update. There's a new release date for your Animal Crossing New Horizons digital code. That'll be February 7th. And I'm like, that was a month ago? What? So that was weird. But right after that, they sent another email with the code, which I immediately, I don't know why, but I immediately had to enter the code. Well, I didn't have to enter a code, because basically when I clicked the link to get my code, I was opening the eShop on my Switch, and when I opened the link, it took me to the Nintendo website where it was like, hey, sign in with your Nintendo ID, and as soon as I did that, it was like, okay, it's done. And there was no code to enter. My Switch just automatically started downloading it, which was very helpful. Didn't have to type in an alphanumeric code. That was super awesome. The only problem is that there was no point in downloading it that morning. I could have done it at any time in the next 2 weeks, but I had to have it immediately. And then, of course, I realized the downside of having it immediately is that the icon is taunting me from the home screen every time I turn on my Switch. So I had to, open some other games in order to bump it to the right so it wouldn't be there all the time taunting me with its existence. That was easy because I had also purchased a 1-year membership to Nintendo Online with the intention of, I used Christmas money to buy it, but I hung on to the card so that once March started, then I would activate it. I forgot about it and didn't activate it until a few days into March, but, whatever. I wasn't even sure I wanted to activate it now because I don't play anything online, but I wanted to check out what else was available. Because I'm not going to use Nintendo Online. It's only $20, which is a good price. So that's nice because I'm really only going to use it for Animal Crossing. I don't really do online multiplayer, so it's primarily Animal Crossing visiting of towns. So I'll probably renew it next year. But then after that, I don't know, because I don't know if anyone else will still be playing Animal Crossing in like 2 years' time, and there will still be towns to visit. I don't know. We'll find out. Although, there may be other games that I'll play online. I don't know. The only other game that I have right now that uses the online component is Ring Fit, where you can compare your challenge scores to your friends' challenge scores. And I have a few people. I activated that, and I'm doing pretty well. I'm either in the middle or towards the top. A couple of challenges I'm actually at the top, but there's some people who have like amazing scores and challenges that I know I will never beat because I'm not very good at those challenges. But the other thing with Nintendo Online is that there's the NES and SNES games. That was what I downloaded in order to bump the Animal Crossing icon off to the right of the screen. I downloaded Tetris 99, and then the NES and SNES. I have not played any of the Tetris 99 yet, but I know people love it. I don't know if anybody's still playing it. I'll find out eventually, I guess. The NES and SNES games, it is a really cool idea, and I was really happy to find out that as opposed to Sony and also Microsoft, though I don't have Xbox Live Gold anymore, so I don't care about them, but they make a game available for a month, and you can add it to your library and download whatever. You can add it to your library and then play it months later, and it's fine, as long as you're still a member of the online service. But if you don't add it to your library, you miss out on it completely. But what I like about Nintendo's is that it just keeps amassing this massive library of games, and they're all just still there. So I was scrolling through looking for Dr. Mario, because I knew that was there, and I started playing it and was extremely confused because it was like going super fast, and it was like a super high level, and I'm just like, what is happening right now? Why is it starting like at the end of the game, basically? And you could go in and adjust it and start over at the beginning, but I was like, why does it not just play like the normal game? Why is it starting at the end? And what happened was, I was very confused, and later I scrolled down to look at some more games, and I saw another Dr. Mario down at the bottom, and when I played that one, it was fine. It was actually what I was expecting to get. It starts at the beginning, where it's a little slow, and you can play it, and it gets progressively more difficult, like it's supposed to. And what happened was, I didn't know this because it doesn't tell you this. It doesn't really tell you how to use the NES or SNES systems. But I went online and looked it up, and the ones that have the little ribbon with the SP on it are like special editions of that game. So there's one for Zelda where you start with like all the weapons and a bunch of rupees, and you're like basically jumping into the game like a few hours in, and you get a little head start. And so I guess this was a head start with Dr. Mario, where it was like, it's already at the harder part, and then you can challenge yourself. So you don't have to play through the beginning to get to the challenging bit. And I'm like, no, because I'm not that good at it. It's too fast. That's not going to happen for me. I need to start slow and build up. I can't just start at the fast part, even if I could beat it normally. So I don't think I'll really be interested in those SP versions, but they always have the regular version of the game in there too, which is nice. And I did check out the SNES, and while I appreciate another option to play A Link to the Past again, I'm actually more intrigued by Breath of Fire and Breath of Fire 2, except for the fact that those are big RPGs that, like, I don't really have time to play because I'm still in the middle of The Witcher, and then I interrupted Pokemon to play The Witcher, and then I actually interrupted Luigi's Mansion to play Pokemon. and then interrupted that to play The Witcher. So I'm in the middle of a few games here, so I'm certainly not going to be starting anything big like that. However, if there is something in either the NES or the SNES library that you think might be fun, like, you know, I want to look and see if there's like a bust-a-move, like, you know, the puzzle games and stuff, like some kind of like an arcade puzzle kind of game. That'll be fun. Not like a deep RPG or something where you've got to, like, you know, work your way through the thing. If there's something fun that I should check out, please let me know in the comments below, and I will do so. But nothing too involved, because I have a lot of games to play. Speaking of which, a little segue there, I know I mentioned last episode that I was probably going to get a new game, but I wasn't sure if I'd be able to start it yet. It turns out that, yes, I bought that new game, and that new game is an old game. It's actually Assassin's Creed Origin, which I was intrigued by, but never actually got around to playing. I was playing other things, so I never got to it. And then when Odyssey came out, I was like, oh, this looks great. And I'm like, oh. But with Odyssey out, I was like, I'll just go get Origin now, and I can explore ancient Egypt, because it'll be on the cheap, because the new one is out. And that's not actually how it works, because it turned out that Origin was still super expensive. And I was like, what the hell? So I was like, if I'm going to pay full price for a game, I'll get Odyssey, because that's the new one. I'm not going to pay full price for something that's slightly older. It seemed a waste. So I played Odyssey instead. But now I was looking through a PSN sale, and there wasn't really a whole lot. There were a couple of games that I was like, oh, I'd like to play that, but it's not actually that discounted. It was only like slightly, like 5-10%. But they had Assassin's Creed Origin for $15, and that seemed a good deal. So I said, fine. And I asked on Twitter, I said, is it as good as Odyssey? Because this seems like a good price. And basically everybody was like, yes, and you should totally get it for $15 because it's an awesome game. And even one person told me that it was better than Odyssey, and I'm like, sold. The problem is that I bought it, downloaded it. Of course, I had to clear room on my hard drive, but I finished Tomb Raider, so that's gone. So I downloaded Assassin's Creed, but I would not start it until I finished Shenmue, because otherwise I'll never go back and finish Shenmue. So my plan was finish Shenmue, then I can play Assassin's Creed. Then when I finish that, I'll play Shenmue 2. Put a little distance between them, which would be nice. But then I actually was doing other stuff, and I kept playing The Witcher all the time, and it was really annoying, so I couldn't get through Shenmue because I kept playing The Witcher instead, so I kind of had to make myself, because I knew I was towards the end of Shenmue. And sure enough, I did eventually beat it, but it took me like the weekend to beat it. So now I'm filming this having just beat Shenmue, and so next episode I will talk about my first impressions of Assassin's Creed Origin, because I'm looking forward to it, because I really enjoyed Odyssey, and I'd gone off the series, but then Origin seemed like it was kind of cool, and I was intrigued, but I just never got around to it, like I said. But I thought Odyssey was amazing, so if this is like that, we're good. And I also hope that they keep the sailing to a minimum, because, oh my god, the sailing is terrible. So come on back next week, and I will talk about that. And probably some more Animal Crossing stuff. I don't know. It's like every week there's something new, and I'm like, oh, what's that? And I'm trying to avoid spoilers, but I still want to know what's going on, so it's hard. So I will see you back here, same bat time, same bat channel. Bye!